Zoom, zoom, get it. Also, a reminder that today is your last chance to turn in your notebook and daily work. Some of you, if you don't today, that means zeros for like a month of work. Tutu and Gretchen and Callister, this is your last chance to finish off quiz 12. Otherwise, that goes in as a zero as well.
I didn't Thursday.
Yeah, you did. I just put it back in here instead of in my regular one. You're good. And then after your test, if you are not using it for review, you may turn in your book. I need to get the number off of it to make sure you actually turned in what you're supposed to. Don't just throw it on a pile and walk away, or else you can still be charged for a thing if it disappears in the meantime. Please turn in the books today or tomorrow, or later if you're still using it to review. Because you really don't want to get charged a replacement fee for something that we're getting rid of. You still lost a school book, a school property.
You could have just taken someone else's book and
So, there's something like 25 completely unused PreCalc books up here. Like they still crunch when you open them. So we get to sell these back to a secondhand distributor.
say 1 second.
No. Anyone's still going? All right. Then, for round one, is there anyone who did the donut method? Handful? Okay. Just want to check. If I'm going to do the donut method of any partial sum, then I take the entire partial sum, in this case the 14th, and I will subtract what? The third partial sum, because I want to include the fourth term. Most of us were fans of the first formula for geometric partial sums because it involved the same amount of numbers, but you didn't have to go find a sub n, which might be huge. So if that's the case, I'm going to find that particular information. I'm going to go find n. I'm going to go find n. I'm going to find r. Hey, look, it's right there in the formula. And then a sub 1 for both of them is plug a 1 in. So -7. So if I'm going to use that particular form, then I take first partial sum, which is, what was it, a sub 1 out front, right? I always screw up my geometric formulas. 1 minus r to the nth over nth over 1 minus r minus a sub 1 times.
R is 2, not -7. Also, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. There we go. 2 to the nth, right? N, not n minus 1.
Yeah, it's just n.
Minus -7 to the 1 minus 2 to the 14th. Except now, because you're doing the third partial sum, the only thing that changes is turn that to a 3. So you can do donut method, this chunk minus that chunk, or I can just pretend the fourth term is my first term. So I'll say n with heavy quotes. Remember, it's 14 minus the 3 below it, not the fourth one. So 11. My a sub 1 is going to be plugging 4 in to find the fourth term because the fourth term is my first term. So I shove a 4 in there. 4 minus 1 is 3. 2 to the third is 8. 8 by -7 is -56. And r is still 2. So I could have done it that way. And then singular formula instead of all this junk, I'd say -56 by 1 minus 2 to the 11th over 1 minus 2. In either case, what do we get? Someone confirm.
Yes.
Okay. And then second one, find the sum of. If I'm going to find the sum of a thing, I need to know what the thing is. What kind of sequence is this? Infinite because of an ellipsis. Is it geometric? Are you sure it's geometric? Or did you only find r using 2 of the terms instead of finding it twice to confirm that it actually is a geometric series? Okay, it is geometric. What is r? Okay. So be careful about that. Just because it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck doesn't mean it's always a duck. Sometimes it's a platypus. In this case, yes, it is a geometric. I don't think they actually quack. Yeah. It is geometric and R is 2/3. Why does the 2/3 matter?
It's a part of the formula.
Well, yeah. Why does it have to be that kind of number? Okay, has to be less than 1. Because that means my geometric sequence is getting smaller and smaller and smaller to the point that I will eventually be adding nothing. If it's a proper fraction, if it's anything greater than 1, then this doesn't work. So my formula is S sub infinite is A sub 1 over 1 minus R. 1 minus 2/3 is 1/3. 4 divided by a third is 12. Yay! Oh! So, 1 for finding correct information based on whichever method you were going to do. 1 for having the formula correct. 1 for the correct answer. 1 for having the information and formula correct. 1 for the answer. Okay. So information, formula, answer. Information and formula, answer. Anything about it? Cool. Anything from the homework?
28.
Oh, yeah, 28.
On? I don't know page numbers. 10.3 or 10.5? There you go. Yo, it's the formula plug and chug. Probability of success, 1/5. So what's probability of failure? How many trials will there be? 12 appointments. And you want to make sales on, so success on, either 3 or 10, depending which problem you're on.
Well, and 0.
What?
3 parts. No sales.
Well, that's just the 4/5.
I thought
No sales this week. Well, that would be
that would be 12 C0 1/5 0 4/5 12.
and that isn't 4/5.
It's 6.9%.
Yeah, that isn't 4/5. It's 4/5 to the 12th, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that thing to the 12th because it happens all 12 times. Yeah.
It's like 6.9%.
Okay. Formula plug and chug. Make sure you got the formula written out. You owe us food.
I know.
Mr. Sullivan, I have a question not related to this.
Yeah.
So to do the grade that you have to get on the final, it's 10 the grade you have or the grade you
After today I have 4 tests to put in. Don't bother.
I just was very excited.
It depends on the weight. It depends. Is it a percentage? Is it points? Do they average the quarters like it's 1982? Like, it depends on their grading scale.
Next one.
Unfortunately. It also depends on their syllabus. Do they say that they round or not? It depends on whether you have whether you have artificial grade inflation. Like, It completely depends on what teacher and how they set up their grades. More teachers are starting to figure out just put everything as a semester grade and then report it to the different periods. So if that's the case, then final is worth this many percent, then you can do that. It's point whatever percent times final plus point whatever percent the rest of your grade equals your grade. And then solve algebraic equation. In here, because the final is 10%, assuming that you don't hit the Good Samaritan option, it's just 10 times the grade you want minus 9 times the grade you have. That's 10%. So, but the formulas, okay? The formulas as we wrote them were the number of trials, the number of successes, the probability of success, the probability of failing, to the number of successes to the number of fails. Like formula plug and chug. Okay? That was the only one asked last hour. The only questions that I've received in the last how many days were all related to the review for the final. So, anything about it? As a reminder, the review to the final, the key was made 6 years, 60 pounds, and 2 children ago. While I was watching Big Bang Theory reruns. So there are, I think, 2 or 3 errors in there that I just never bothered to scan in and fix. Like one of them was a parenthesis bracket thing. Another one was a limit actually approaches 1 or -1, but I called it no limit. Like tiny stuff like that. I think there's 3 through the whole review. Yeah. So just letting you know, those are a thing. They're super small. Just double check if that's the case. Make sure I get your books either today or tomorrow, unless you are using them to review all the way through finals. I've only had so far in here 2 people tell me that they're taking a final not during block 2 Wednesday or block 3 Thursday. I've only had 2 people tell me that they are doing differently, so I will expect that the whole lot of you are showing up on one of those 2 days. Don't show up on the other one. Okay? It'd be awesome if we could do an even split, because I actually rearranged the room so all the tables are all split up. And then you can go 1 kid per table. But whatever you choose, I don't care. If you don't show up on day 1, I assume you're showing up on day 2. If you don't show up on either, I assume you just don't want to take your final, and that's a 0. Make sure you turn in your notebooks and stuff today. Again, last chance for that. I'm not grading daily work during finals from a month ago, unless we've had a discussion. Everything boils down to unless you've been willing to talk to me about something. You don't have to give me your life story. You don't have to divulge private information, but you do have to just say, hey, some crap's gone down. Can I do this one test during this block and turn my notebook into you that afternoon? That's just advocating for yourself, okay? Today's quiz is fast. It is all formula plug and chug. Everyone, I'm not even joking, even Caden, they all finished with 20 plus minutes left of class. Okay? So, he just double checks his stuff. He does it right. He looks it through and then he double checks his stuff. He does it right. Oh, I could give you a whole spiel on gender bias and not being cool to try. Langenfield. Ta-da! All right. You go away. And you go away. Section 10.1, introducing sigma notation, sequences, and series. Before I go trying to apply formulas and stuff, I have to know what kind of critter are you dealing with. If you're going to attempt to, I don't know, do some sort of invasive surgery on a creature, you should know what kind of critter it is. I should probably not try to help an alligator give live birth. Okay? What kind of critter is this? No! It's neither of those. It's not arithmetic or geometric, so how am I going to find a partial sum for it? No. Just plug them in and add them up. Go find the terms and add them up. That's how we did it in 10.1. Before we got the special formulas. That's like 6-7 days ago, man. I don't know. Okay. Go find your third term. Shove a 3 in there. 9 minus 2 is. Shove a 4 in there. 16 minus 2 is. Shove a 5 in there. Put a 6 in there. Put a 7 in there. Add them all up. So what's that? 40, 60, 70, 104, 118, 125? Now, I don't have it on any of the directions, but I'm going to tell you right now, in person, eyes and ears. Work must be shown to receive credit. Because what happens when you show none of this and mental math wrong? 0 out of 5. You just threw away 16.66666% of your test because you mental math wrong, because you got cocky. Okay? So please write out what you're doing, even if you can do it in the calculator, even if you do it in your head, write out what you're doing in case you do a goof. Okay? Round 2. Okay, now they explicitly tell me that it is an arithmetic sequence. So, make me some formulas. Do you remember how we make a recursive formula? You have to state a sub 1. Year after year after year, I get kids who will only write the second part of this. They will not write a sub 1 is. Recursive is the sequence is defined based on what I do to the previous term. Okay, if I know what I'm doing to the previous term, that's great. Where do I start? Okay, what's up? No. So, A sub 1 is thing, A sub n is, now tell me, what do you do to A sub n minus 1, the term that came before it? Subtract 16, find D. Now remember, subtracting 16 is the same as adding a negative 16, it's just been reduced, or simplified. To find my explicit formula, to go straight for the throat and find the answer, we're going to use our form. A sub n is A sub 1 plus n minus 1 D. So, I plug in what I know. I know A sub n is, I know A sub 1. I don't know n because this is going to go on forever. This is my formula. And D is negative 16. Remember, I'm adding a negative 16 every time. Distribute, combine like terms. Explicit formula is A sub n is negative 7n plus 9. Distribute negative 16n.
Yeah.
What is it?
Negative 16n plus 9. There we go. What was another way to do this instead of using the formal definition? Remember good old radix plus start, algebra half, making an equation from a table? If I subtract 16, subtract 16, subtract 16, and this is the first term, second term, third term, then the 0th term where I start, I will add 16 instead. So I know what D is, I know what my start is. Ta-da! So depends on which method you like. And then go find the 50th term. Would you like to use the recursive formula or the explicit formula? I probably don't want to subtract 16 equals, subtract 16 equals, subtract 16 equals, subtract 16 equals. Or I can just shove a 50 in there, getting 580, 800, 791, and then I'm done. Okay. Would it be a good idea right above that to say A sub 50 is negative 16 by 50 plus 9? Just to show I know what I'm doing, I didn't just, here's a number. Okay? Round 3. Find the sum. Now this does say find the sum of the arithmetic series, which is incorrect. It's sum of arithmetic sequence. Once you start putting plus in there, now it's a series. But I don't remember what is on the test, if it says arithmetic or geometric, or if it just says find the sum of the series and nothing else. So again, we ran into this before. Double check to make sure it's the kind of sequence or series that you think it is. Take this minus this and that minus that to confirm that that's actually D. Okay. So you write down the information you know. I know A sub 1 is 7. I know A sub n is 79. What else? Find D very quickly is 3. And then it says find the sum. So you go look at your sum formulas. Your sum formulas were n over 2, A sub 1 plus A sub n, and S sub n is n over 2, 2 A sub 1s plus n minus 1 by D, like so. So, which formula do I have information for? Neither.
Well, you have information to kind of we don't have that.
Both of them require n. I do not have n.
Oh, you have to do the thingy.
So we have to go on our side quest to go find n. Yes, we got the thingy at the place. And we're going to do the thing to find it. I'll say a sub n is positive 7 plus n minus 1 times d. Plug in what you know, solve for what you don't. Okay. So we'll get negative 3, 4, subtract 75 divided by 3, n is 25. Okay. Now which formula do I have the information for?
The first one.
Both. Right? We've got all 4 items. So you get your preference. Again, show your work. Show me how you got there. I'm going to say S sub 25. Most of us preferred the first one just because it had less stuff. Is 25 over 2 by a sub 1 plus a sub n is 75, 84, 84, no, 86, 43, 25. Where do you go? 1,075?
Yes.
Okay. Show your work. Backside. Find thing. Doesn't even tell you what thing is.
Arithmetic.
How do I know it's arithmetic?
Because
Doesn't have an
the
exponent.
3n plus 1 is up.
Okay.
You're decreasing that.
Exponential functions are geometric. This does not have n in the exponent. There are no other exponents in it, like on number 1. There's no denominators with a variable, nothing like that. It's just linear equation, so that is arithmetic. So we have a choice of the donut. If I want to find the sum from the 4th term to the 15th term, I can find the 15th sum and subtract what? The 3rd sum. Okay. By this point, I think we've finally got our head wrapped around that. That if starting at the 4th term, I subtract the 3rd term, the 3 terms below it. I'm going to go find the relevant information for them. Most of us preferred this one just because it had less things in it. So I would say n is 15, n is 3. I'd say, what else? A sub 1. If I plug a 1 in here, for both times. But my a sub n is going to change. If I plug in a 15, I get 46. If I plug in a, what, 3, I just get 10. So the donut method says find the information to do this for both s sub 15 and s sub 3. And say n over 2 by a1 plus am minus 15 over 2, nope, 3 over 2 now, by 4 plus 10. So 50, 25, 15 to 50, 375 minus 21, 3, 6, 354? Yeah? Okay. Option 2. which I think at this point more of us are comfortable with. The first time I showed you, there were more who were willing to do the donut method because they just couldn't wrap their heads around that. Now, after doing it a few times, both arithmetic and geometric, I think more of us are comfortable saying, I'm just going to pretend that n is what? 15 minus the 3 terms below it. And I'll say a sub 1, it's really my a sub 4, it's my 4th term, but I'm going to pretend it's my 1st so I can start there and shove a 4 in there, getting 13. And my a sub n is still a sub 15, which we said was 46. So I plug them on in, and I say S sub quotes 12 is 12 over 2 by 13 plus 46 is 49, 59 by 6, 544, 24, 14. Is it 354?
Yes.
Okay. Could do this one, but can't do that one. I don't care which method you use, just make sure you write it out. Okay. I don't want you to lose a bunch of points. That would really suck if the easiest chapter and the easiest test of the entire year was your worst grade because you just decided to get cocky and just, I'm a mental math. Yeah. You get it back and it's like a 52. Okay, don't do that. What kind of critter is it?
Geometric.
How do I know?
Because it has an exponent.
It's of the form base to the n minus 1. So if it's in a geometric form, I'm going to use, okay, if you do the donut method, you're going to have to take the 12th term minus the 12th sum minus the 2nd sum. That's a lot. But boy, is it faster if we just pretend that this is a sub 1. So I'll say my n is 12 minus 2. And my a sub 1 is, I'm actually going to start at the 3rd term. Stick a 3 in there. 3 minus 1 is 2. 1.016 squared. 1. It's not 0.36. Is it?
What? It's one. Base of 1 is 5.6.
And then times 5.
1.06 squared is 1.1236.
1236?
Yeah. That's just what.
Oh, because you need the. All right, we're good. And then times 5. 5 point.
618.
And my r, where do I find r?
1.06.
Right there in the formula, right? It's the base of my exponent. So I dump them into my formula. In this case, the formulas are S sub n is a sub 1 by 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r, or S sub n was, crud, was it a sub 1 minus a sub n times r to the n over 1 minus r? I always screw up the geometric formulas.
Just times R.
Just times r? Okay. So it depends on which information you're given. Again, most of us would prefer the first formula because the second one wants you to find a sub n. And a sub n is going to be either very, very big or very, very small with a geometric series. Probably with some big, long decimal train on it. So most of us preferred the first one. That's why I got that information. And then Plug and chug. 5.618 by 1 minus 1.06 to the nth power, which we're going to pretend is 10. 1 minus 1.06. Use parentheses. Dump it in your calculator one shot for all I care. Do not try to cancel anything out.
Can't that 1.06 cancel?
It really can't.
Can't the 1 cancel?
Alex, are you just go
It's just a
that?
zero. Wouldn't it just be 10? It'd just be 10.
Wow.
Not even to the 10th power. Just 10. Just 10.
I bet I'll hear that next year. From what I'm hearing of current Algebra 2 crew, I bet I'll hear that. What we got? 74 and change? Okay. And then Goober. The one and only time that I have ever tried to live with another human besides my wife. His name was Goober. Yeah, he was Goober. No, his name was Alex, but we called him Goober.
And you chose his name was Goober?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of the one who gave him that name, so. Nice guy, slob. Goober's worst shot in his Cub Scout pack with 30% accuracy rating. What is the probability that he will hit exactly 7 of 10 targets to complete his rifleman badge?
Just like 10-year-old Goober.
I don't care. So this is just like that number 28 from our homework assignment. I'm looking for NCR A to the R, B to the N minus R. Okay, where A and B are the probabilities of success and failure, respectively. N is the number of trials, R is the number of successes. So, plug and chug, which would be a good time to actually write it out. We have 10 trials. We want to be successful on 7 of them. Chance of success is 30%. And we want that to happen 7 times. That means the probability of failure is 70%. And we want that to happen how many times? 3. Okay. So maybe you need to write a note to yourself. A plus B has to equal 1. Your 2 exponents have to total to n. Okay? And I dump it in my calculator and I find out Goober ain't getting that badge. Because think about that. Someone normally is 30%. You want them to do 70%. That's the freshman who slept through half of class has 28.2% homework and note completion for the semester, has a test average of 41%, thinking that he's going to get 122 on the final to pass the class.
Might as well just not show.
So, I've only ever had a kid do that twice. This is year 7 of pre-calc in Spearfish. This twice I've had a kid just write "see you next year" and just turn it in, go take a nap. What do you think? It's really, really small, right? Like less than 1%. Yeah. So, so you're saying there's a chance.
He's just gotta recalibrate his sight, wait for the map to begin, move the target up a little bit. He's good.
Stand directly in front of it. Yeah. All right. Devices over here. Scramble yourselves up.